Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great day today. My video today is going to be focused on the best active adult communities located in Wake County. So I always get asked that question, what do you think is the best community? I don't live in any of the 55 plus communities, I just sell in them, but I know a lot about them and I sell a lot of homes in each community and I have clients who live in those communities, so I always get great feedback. I have never had someone come back to me after I've sold them a 55 plus community and say that we hate it here. But I think as an individual, you have to think about a few things when you're looking for an active adult community. And that's true here in the Triangle, but it could be anywhere in the country. What is the most important thing to you? Most of the communities, you're going to be able to find the house that you want. All of them have, small, medium, and large. Some of them have attached homes like townhouses or villas. So they'll all have, different size housing, something for everyone really. So in any community, you could probably find exactly what you're looking for with regard to the house. The other things that should be important to think about are size of the community. Do you want a large community, one that's like 1,300 homes? So our two largest 55 plus communities are Carolina Arbors, which is 1,300 homes, Carolina Preserve, which is 1,300 homes. And then everything else is smaller. And they range in size from, 600 homes, 650 homes, down to, less than 200 homes. And so, that's something to take into consideration as well. Do you like the larger communities? Do you want something smaller? Do you want something right in the middle? The third piece is amenities. What is important to you? So I'll give an example. I've worked with a lot of clients who it's absolutely not negotiable. They have to have an indoor pool in the community. So if that's something that's important to you, that limits you to certain communities. So that's some of the things to think about if you're trying to narrow down 55 plus communities, either in the Triangle or somewhere else across the country, thinking about those things like what's important to you. But for the purpose of today's video, we're going to talk about specifically Wake County. We're going to focus on age-restricted communities. Some of the communities that I'll have on this map that I'm going to show you are age-targeted. So there's not an age restriction. Anyone can buy in those communities. There is a little clubhouse and an outdoor pool in most of them, but there's no age restriction. They attract the active adult because they usually have one-story, they have main level living, one-story homes like they do in most 55 plus communities. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get right into it. And I wanted to start with a Wake County map. So this is showing Wake County. And as you can see, like everything inside the line is Wake County. So you can see it has a lot of cities in it. According to the last census, I think Wake County has about 1 million people in it. So just that gives you perspective on the sheer size of Wake County. But you can see, Cary, Apex, Holly Springs, Fuquay, Garner, Knightdale, Wendell, all the way up to Wake Forest. And then obviously Raleigh are all inside the Wake County border. So that's just the Wake County map. And then to narrow down to 55 plus communities that are in Wake County, you have Webb at Traditions. This is about 450 homes, a Webb community. They have a clubhouse, they have amenities, an indoor pool, things like that. So that's up here in Wake Forest. You have Encore at Wendell. This is a part of a larger master plan community. So there's two associations. That's something to think about as well. If you want to have access to amenities within your own community, but then if you like the idea of having amenities outside of your 55 plus neighborhood, that's something to think about as well. The flip side to that, some people want that. Some people say, I'm never going to use those amenities, so I don't want to have to pay for them. So that's something to think about as well when you're looking for an active adult community. Moving down over here into the Raleigh Garner area, you have Auburn Village, which is a 55 plus community built by Lennar. It's about 375 homes. They have a clubhouse, a pool. It's a beautiful community. Right next door to it, Toll Brothers is building Regency at Auburn Station. This is going to be a smaller 55 plus community. Less than 200 homes. They do have a clubhouse and a pool. It's new construction, so that's something else that to take into consideration. To have on your list. Is new construction important to you, or do you want an established community? And I'll take that a step further. A lot of folks I work with are like, hey, you know what? I want to move into a community where I don't have to wait for the amenities. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes in the new construction communities, you might be waiting for the amenities to open up. In Regency at Auburn Station, their amenities are done and they are open. Moving up into Southeast Raleigh, you have Regency at Old Town, another Toll Brothers community that is currently being built. Their amenities are also open. As we get into the south, into Garner, the Village at Aversboro is a very small 55 plus community. It's older. And then moving over here to Holly Springs, you have Regency at Holly Springs, also by Toll Brothers. That is actually a part of 12 Oaks Country Club, and you do have to have a minimum social membership at 12 Oaks Country Club when you live in Regency at Old Town or Regency at Holly Springs. So you'll have your own amenities within your neighborhood, and then outside there's the golf club and clubhouse and all of that. So that's another one where you'd be paying, 2 fees, your own HOA, and then to the 12 Oaks Country Club. Moving up north a little bit, and I'm skipping some of these because this one, for example, is the age targeted. This one is also an age targeted as opposed to age restricted. This one is as well. Moving up here, Heritage Pines, it's a smaller, older 55 plus community. It's in a great location. It's established. It was built in the early 2000s. One of the things people always tell me about this community is, they love the established trees, and because it was built, a while ago, the lots are a little bit larger. You have more space between homes than you do in some of the other communities out there. So this is an age restricted community. You have Blakely right here. This was built by Lennar. The unique thing about Blakely, and this is something to think about, if amenities are not important to you at all, and I have sold homes to people who are like, hey, I don't care about the amenities. The only thing I want is the HOA to take care of my yard maintenance. I don't want to have to mow the grass. I don't want to have to, do any fertilizer, weeding, any of that stuff. Blakely does not have any amenities, but their HOA takes care of the yard maintenance like it does in all the 55 plus communities. You just don't have any amenities. So if amenities are not important to you, Blakely might be one to consider as well. And then as we move up here, then we get over into Durham County once we get into this area. And Carolina Preserve is right here. Most of this community is in Chatham County, the very front portion of it. So, a couple streets of homes do fall into Wake County, but since most of it is in Chatham County, I'm going to skip that one for today. So when we're looking at what's popular, I always, again, it's a personal preference. It's size of the community, location of the community, the amenities, the HOA fee. Are you paying into one HOA or 2 HOAs? So that's something to take into consideration. As far as selling, what I always look at is as far as what's popular, I would say Auburn Village is popular. They've had a lot of real estate activity. This is showing the real estate activity for the last year. So everything that's on the market, everything that is under contract, and everything that has sold and closed. So you can see they've had a lot of homes come on the market. So there is some turnover in the neighborhood. It's not a bad thing. But 20 homes have been on the market. Their average square footage around 1,800 to 1,900 square feet. They've stayed on the market about 52 days. And the average sales price overall, $439,000. But you can see there's some up here, in the six that sold in the 600s in the last year, and they're larger. They vary in size, things like that. But yeah, this community, a lot of real estate activity in it. So I would say it's pretty popular. One of the things that people tell me about this community in particular is they love the size. So 375 homes. It's not too big. You see the same people at the clubhouse. It's a smaller community, cozier feel. The clubhouse and amenities are a little bit smaller as well. But it's a great clubhouse, really beautiful, nice outdoor pool, pickleball courts, and then there's beautiful trails throughout the neighborhood. So this one I would say is pretty popular. Next one I would say is Del Webb at Traditions. This one I would say is probably the most popular just because Del Webb is it's a brand. Del Webb almost has like a cult-like following. People love Del Webb communities. Del Webb started the 55 plus, communities. And they do it right. So this is a great community, 450 homes. So another good size. If you're not looking for a massive community, 450 homes, it's cozy. It's in a great location. And they have also had a lot of real estate activity over the last year. So they have 5 homes currently on the market. They've had 11 that have sold and closed in the last year. Of the 11 that have sold and closed, they've been larger homes. So we saw at Auburn Village, average square footage of the home that has sold was like between 1,800 and 1,900. We're seeing larger homes come on the market here in Del Webb at Traditions. So the average square footage of what has sold has been just shy of 2,500. Those homes have stayed on the market on average about a month, which is about average of what the Triangle is doing, and then a little bit more expensive. So the homes that are larger, are obviously going to sell for more. So it does make sense that the average sales price is a little bit higher. So the average sales price, $670,000, and then they have a few that are currently under contract, right around 1,900 square feet. Those sold fast, only in 5 days. So you can see some of these, this one that stayed on the market was 3,600 square feet. It was on the market for 115 days. In a 55 plus community, a lot of people don't need homes that large. So sometimes that limits your buyer pool, and that could be why that home stayed on the market for a little bit. And then finally, Heritage Pines. I sell a lot in Heritage Pines. I represent a lot of sellers. And, this is a beautiful community in a great location. And that's, I would say, the number one thing that I hear about Heritage Pines is the location. You're convenient to major roads, restaurant, shopping, things like that. The other two communities are as well, but I just hear that more about Heritage Pines from clients than I do with clients who are in the other two communities. But as far as what has sold, they've had a lot of real estate activity this year, 19 homes, and they do have some attached homes, townhouses. I've included those in the list as well. But 19 homes and townhomes have sold and closed this year. The average square footage around just shy of 2,100, and you can see homes sold a little bit faster. So this community is maybe a little bit more in high demand than some of the other ones, averaging about 25 days on the market. And then you can see there's one currently under contract that's supposed to close in February. So hopefully that information is helpful with regard to it's hard for me to say what the most popular community is or what the best community is because everybody's needs are different. And I think that's, when people contact me, that's one of the things that we always talk about. And I always ask those questions. And if you're thinking about starting that journey, those are some things to think about. Is there a specific location in the Triangle? Is there a specific size of the community that you want? What kind of house do you want? What amenities are important to you? What amenities not only in the community, but what is important to be close to the community? So just some things to get you thinking. If you're thinking about relocating to the Triangle, feel free to reach out. If you're researching the area and trying to figure out where your next chapter is going to be, check out my YouTube channel, Welcome to Raleigh. There's city tours, community tours, more information on the real estate market, more videos like this. And I look forward to talking to you again soon.